What's going on, my beautiful peoples? I am Jake, aka Ticks and Leeches. Welcome to the first ever podcast, The Four Boys and Their PCs.
I'm a boy. Boom. That's your intro.
Yep.
You gotta keep the I'm a boy in there.
Okay, so I introduced myself, now we'll go to Craig.
What do I?
You gotta just introduce it. See? It's hard, isn't it?
No, there was just no guidance.
I said intro. Yeah, you're supposed to introduce yourself. It's just whatever you want. Your nickname or your real name.
At this point, you're gonna cut this and edit it to pieces, so that's good. So
Yeah.
I think you should keep the whole thing in there.
I probably will, honestly. Less work.
Yeah, really. You know, save on labor.
That's tough to come by these days. But anyway,
It is.
I'm Craig Christ. I play PC with my boys.
Boom. That's the best
And
one.
then Ost.
I'm Austin, also known as the Autonomy Lost, if that doesn't get copyrighted by Meshuggah, and I also play on PC.
And Michael.
I play PC.
See your gun go off. Whoa! Oh shit!
Okay.
That's Michael.
And then here on this podcast, we have a primary focus of Escape to Tarkov, or Escape from Tarkov.
Escape to Tarkov. Maybe we don't want to leave Tarkov. Maybe there's a few people that are like, you know what, Tarkov doesn't sound too bad. You don't have to worry about rent. You don't have to worry about a utility bill. It's just shooting drunk Russian people for cheese and corrugated hoses.
That's the dream.
But I've heard Russia's pretty miserable this time of year. So
Well, yeah. Well, actually, it might be their summer. I don't know how the world works with climates. Like, usually when, you know, we're on our winter, someone else is on their summer. So maybe it's, like, really nice in Russia right now. We should probably, you know what we should do? Let's get a dedicated meteorologist to come on the podcast. So when we have random stupid questions about weather, they can answer it for us.
That's where your first mistake is. I am actually, Craig Christ, I am actually a licensed meteorologist.
He's a licensed meteorologist. He studies meteors and the sky. So tell us what's happening in Russia right now, Craig.
Cold as shit. People are drunk, and it's really not much different from where I am right now. Really cold and really drunk.
Yeah, so it's
Back to
kind of
you.
just like America, sort of. Okay, well that's cool. All right, Jake. Why don't you kick us off? See, look at this. I mean, I should be a radio host.
The podcast is gonna focus primarily on Escape from Tarkov and other gaming-related news. So to start it off, how's the wipe going, boys?
Let me tell you, I need corrugated hoses. No one's giving me corrugated hoses. I once found a guy in raid, told him I had corrugated hoses, and he shot me right in the face.
I don't know if it's because of my scabs or what. This is the first wipe I actually haven't struggled to find those. I feel like between making them in the hideout and finding them, I got a lot of them.
I got a ton of them also.
I think Nikita just knows that I actually want to work on my hideout this wipe.
That's possible.
He's given me the good old Tarkov fisting.
He would know that. And speaking of that, I saw in the patch notes they actually just decreased the number of items that could spawn in like certain things like duffel bags and containers. Not the items that can spawn in them, but the physical number of them. So like duffel bags and things that we can search, like crates and shit like that, they're gonna have less items in there than usual now.
Yeah.
But there's been so many crates and duffel bags that I've opened up that have fucking nothing.
Yeah, well, and it's gonna get worse because that update was like yesterday. So
I remember, I can't remember what map we were on, but there was one raid where I think it was somewhere in customs, just a random little 4x4 weapon crate, you know, just the little box ones.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a fucking Thor chest piece in there, completely.
Yeah,
like, you know,
I think it was one of the rectangle ones on woods. I was playing with my brother Michael one night, and I found a fucking slick in there.
Yeah, it's like I almost wonder if they.
more and more armors.
Yeah, I feel like I wonder if they've buffed that at all. I mean, I don't I haven't really been reading the patch notes, so I don't know what they've tweaked.
Well, I should hope so. I mean, with them taking all
I've got
that
a good
stuff
one.
off the flea market, like that's, I mean, even with traders, like I don't know, I've never made the high level armor, so I don't know what goes into that, but the barter trades for them are probably going to be ridiculous, and on top of that, they might be one of those items that can go out of stock, so if they didn't increase it, where the hell are we supposed to get them?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, that honestly would make sense that they buff the loot of them just to compensate for all that shit.
Speaking of interesting patch notes, something I know you guys will love. Jake already knows. Austin, though, I don't think you know this yet.
I probably
But-
don't.
In your Gamma, your secure container, guess what
Yeah.
you can't put in there anymore?
Uh,
Ammo.
Oh.
Grenades, handguns,
And
Oh, really?
magazines.
and magazines. Can't put any
really?
of that
So
in your
you
secure.
can't put? Is that a new one? Because when we
Yeah,
were
just
playing,
today.
That's new.
I was gonna say, because yeah, that's anytime all my spare ammo goes in my Gamma.
No longer.
Did they
You know
say
what?
ammo? I
Make it
know they said cases. I didn't
Says
see that
ammo.
they said ammo specifically.
Ammo.
Yeah,
That's
that would make
fucked.
sense because there's a lot of big chads occasionally that you kill that will have like M995, M61. And most of it is in their Gamma. You can't loot it, especially if, you know, the Chad used all the ammo that was in his magazines and he needed to repack
Yeah.
mags. You're not going to get any of that. You might get a few shots here and there, but you're not going to get that really good spicy ammo.
Well, now
So I
I'm
guess-
kind of worried because, like, that's something I do often is I have extra ammo, and, like, it's not like I want that extra ammo, but I'm not going to feel comfortable bringing a stack of 50 good rounds in my tack rig.
You're gonna have
Yeah,
to make. You're gonna
just
have
gonna
to adapt.
start to. Yeah.
Either that
gonna-
or just start engaging less, you know, or when I do pop
Play
one
like
shot
me.
at a time.
Play like me. I
Well,
don't
and
do
you know,
that.
and you know, one thing I do, there'll probably a million people that hear this and say that, oh, that's a terrible idea. But usually, like, I just bring like, if I have good ammo in my magazines, that's the only good ammo I have, and then I just have like half decent ammo on backup in case, you know, because you know, usually if you're gonna run into a big Chad, it's either gonna, especially depending on what map you are, I feel like you're gonna run into him pretty quickly. You know, usually just
Right.
you know, so usually those first few shots are the ones that are going to really count. And then when you have all that good gear from that guy, you're just going to want to get out anyway, so you're not really going to be focusing on engaging. And you know, unless you're a super Chad. If you're me and you killed a player and got all his gear, you're going to get the
Yeah.
fuck out of there as fast as possible.
Yeah, I feel like we should clarify for the people listening how we play. What,
Yeah, I'm not
what
gonna
do we
talk off.
identify as?
I identify as shit, a literal log of shit that just kind of rolls his way around the map and is not very good at it. But I still enjoy it. You know, I have a good time. It's really just that game to me. It's just a spectacle. Like there is no game that has gotten gunplay that good. You know what I mean? Like there's certain
Yeah.
games where they have good gunplay, but I mean as far as like realism. Like I really want to start seeing, like, there's a lot of hardcore shooters like that don't tell you that, you know, they don't have an ammo counter, right? But
Right.
Tarkov makes up for it by letting you check your ammo. I want to start seeing more of that shit in different video games. There are a few that have started to do it, but like a lot of hardcore tactical shooters, you know, when they give you no ammo counter, it's just like, well, you don't have an ammo counter, so good luck knowing how much ammo you have. At least Tarkov is like, well, let's develop a system that can help people somewhat understand how much
Right.
ammo they have. You know, but
Yeah. It's the
I don't know
little
what we're-
things.
yeah, I forgot what we were talking about, but oh yeah, I suck ass at Tarkov. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, Craig was asking what we identify as, and if that's the case, then I would say I identify as somebody who pushes PvP way more often than they should.
I would identify as
I would agree.
I would identify as like a rat with leprosy. You know, usually you just kind of want to. You don't really want to even touch me if you kill me, because most of my shit is just so crappy anyways. It's just gonna end up killing you. You know, if you try to use it.
I feel like I've become more like in between a rat and Chad, and that causes me to die every single raid.
Yeah, but I also remember, Michael, I think out of all of us, you were not only higher level than Jake, but I remember you had like the most PMC kills. You had like a shitload, and 9 times out of 10 when I go in a raid with you, you'll get into gunshots or gunfights, and then you end up killing the PMCs. Like that one on Woods, you took down 2 guys by yourself with a Mosin, and I had no clue where they were. I just walked up on them and was like, oh, there's 2 dead guys here. What the fuck happened?
That's
and Craig
true. I
just hid in
think
the
we're
house.
getting smarter about our placement in fights.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that's a fact.
What about
Yeah,
you,
I think
Craig?
it's just map knowledge.
What do you identify as?
Kleptomaniac.
I was
I
gonna
like
say,
stealing, not
you saying
stealing because
both.
they're dead, and it's loose loot on the ground, so it's not stealing, but I'm obsessed with loot, so yeah, kleptomaniac. Yeah, that's
The
fitting
mini
for me.
rat. I
Fair.
think that's pretty
Yeah.
good. You should get that on a T-shirt, honestly.
Ooh, yeah, buy my merch.
Yeah, buy his merch.
But
It's just a fucking blank white T-shirt with like written on with Sharpie.
What do you
Well, it
guys
says on the back, I stole your money.
What do you guys think about all the changes to the flea market and the airdrops and, scav karma being more, seems like hardcore enforced than ever? Probably because of Santa fucking everything up, but
It's I'd say it's pretty interesting. I want to see where this all goes. I think I've been saying this for a while, but I really want to see. I want to get into a time machine and go like 5 years in the future and be like, okay, what's Tarkov look like now? Because if you just look at gameplay from like when did it first like the pre-alpha launch or whatever?
like
Wasn't it,
late 2016, early
Was it like-
2017.
so we'll just say like around 2017 when the game came out to now. I mean,
It looks like dog ass.
yeah, it looks like a totally different game. I mean, when we first started playing, I think they just added reserve.
Yeah.
And like healing animations were already a thing. And then when I went back and looked and I was like, realized, oh my God, there was no healing animations. You could just be healing and shooting people. Like,
right.
what the fuck?
And there wasn't surgery either. You just had to
It wasn't
painkiller
surgery.
and limp out of the map.
And like, just seeing like all these, like a lot of the changes they're adding, like it just seems like good ideas, but I want to see them fleshed out more. And that's why
Yeah.
I want to see the final product. I really hope that eventually they can finally say, okay, this is Tarkov, it's done, we'll do DLC, and then we're moving on to our next project, because I just want to see what Nikita wants for this whole game. And I sure hope it's not going to be like some situation where it just stays in beta forever, because at some point the game has to end. I feel like Nikita might be one of those people where he's like, oh, I want to add this in. Let's not finish it just yet.
That's
I
where
wanna
I
add this in."
agree and I disagree, because I'm right there in his mindset. Like, he doesn't know when is a good point to stop adding things, but I'm also like, as much as it sucks not having it be fully done, there's always going to be something else that I'm like, oh man, I wish that was in this,
Realistically, there's going to be a final form that comes out, but who's saying that you can't come back and add to it later to
Right.
to the finished product?
Or even better yet, add modding support. Once the game is fully released, be like, hey, this is how we made the game.
I don't
You
know,
guys
that
can-
would be
It
sketchy.
made private lobbies.
With
Yeah,
with
any-
multiplayer and stuff, I don't
but
want
that's
people
it, that's-
fucking with the game.
That's what I'm saying. It's like eventually he might want to add other shit to the point where PvP wouldn't be the sole focus. You could do other shit and maybe even add modding support with private lobbies. I mean,
Right.
hell, even Arma does that. Arma has private lobbies. There's literally overhaul mods that turn Arma 3 into like a Warhammer 40K battlefield simulator,
That's
and it's
true.
still
I'm pretty
playable
sure-
online. I'm sure
Those are
that
all-
if they found a system that you could expand the life of that game even more, because someone could mod the game into something else that's completely different that a lot of people are like, ooh, I actually like that. Then boom, you have a whole sub community of Tarkov that's going on, still continues to have players years after the game is finished. Shit like that. Like, I think it would be possible. I mean, I can
Those are
understand.
usually private lobbies, like
Yeah, exactly.
personal
And if
circle.
people are gonna want to cheat, they're still gonna cheat in the game. There's really nothing you can do with that other than come up with good anti-cheat. But even then, I'm not a software engineer. I don't know how that shit. I've never even cheated in a multiplayer game. I don't even know how you go about fucking with the game that way. You know what I mean? Let alone designing a system to combat it. I'd have no fucking clue. Man. This is a good podcast. I took a massive hit off a bong, so if I talk too much, just let me know. Tell me to shut up and I'll stop.
What about you, Craig and Michael? How's the wiping going? What do you guys think of like inertia and airdrops and all the stuff that they've changed, flea market?
I liked the inertia. I actually did. I thought I was gonna hate it, but it fits the game pretty fucking well.
It's nice.
Yeah, and the
I
airdrops
agree.
I haven't seen.
Yeah,
Like, I've heard the planes, but I haven't seen one.
I think the airdrops are starting to drop later in raid, which I think is a good thing. It goes back to something General Sam was talking about forever ago, giving players incentive to stay in raid longer, which I think is a good thing. And then also, if you're lucky enough to be, either near where it's dropping or the opposite, I feel like you got a bunch of good and or bad things that are happening. Like, one of the big positives I see right now is if you're desperately trying to get a quest done, that airdrop's going to pull most of the players to that spot, which might give you the opportunity to get out safely.
Yeah,
True.
that's true.
That's actually very true. That's a good distraction. Also, the audio cover from the airdrops, I do like that. Even though it's ear splitting.
I like it, but yeah, it makes it so you can't hear anything, which is just kind of ridiculous. That's
kind of realistic though, right? I mean, I've never really heard.
Yeah,
one of those
it
planes,
is
but I
flying
imagine
pretty close to the ground.
If it's an airdrop, they're gonna be flying closer to the ground, and if it's a massive cargo plane, those things are fucking huge.
Well, and I think one of the main points of it is to be like, hello, everybody in this fucking raid. There's a fucking plane right now.
Well, yeah, and that I don't really know much about cases, but how big was that fucking case? Was that about the size of
I think that's the biggest container
case?
I think it's about the size of a scav junk box, maybe a little smaller or bigger.
That's the thing, it literally looked like I didn't even have time to search the whole thing. It would have taken me about 2 minutes in real life just sitting there, letting the game loot for me, especially at my low of level where my searching isn't as fast as it could be.
Well, and I've even seen the higher level players right now, like Landmark, even him searching it still takes about a minute and 30 seconds to really search every little item in there. Depending on the loot you get, I guess. If you get a bunch of armors, it'll probably be quicker.
Yeah. No, I really like the new inertia system, especially with it being a more tactical shooter. I think side strafing in video games is fine, and arena shooters, arcadey shooters like Call of Duty, Halo. But in a game like Tarkov, where you want to be more realistic, seeing when
soldiers
people
wouldn't do shit like that.
Seeing people constantly go back and forth, it kind of, in a way, it's it reminds you, oh, yep, this is a competitive.
I mean, it's one thing if they're moving towards or away from the target, because that's kind of realistic. But yeah, most soldiers, at least you would think, they would be holding angles or sitting somewhere where their aim is steady.
Well, yeah, and realistically, you wouldn't be able to stop and move that fast side to side with all that fucking gear on you.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember one time I went to a fucking military surplus store up in Spokane, and they had this old flak jacket, and it was just a shitty little thing you slipped over you. I just put that on me, and I was like, oh, I was like, fuck, I don't want to fucking wear this thing. So wearing that fucking backpack full of shit, having all these, it's no, you would be a lot slower. I really like the whole, building up to speed a little bit. I think it's really cool.
I think I like inertia, but I haven't noticed. I'm starting to not notice it as much. It might not have been big enough of a change.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see with someone who's got a level 60 character and who knows how long. There might already be a level 60 character, but in the next coming weeks or months, seeing a fully geared up player, max leveled out, just seeing, how much the inertia really did affect. Is it something where you just notice it at the beginning, and then when you get higher level, it's more like the original Tarkov? Or even if you're a higher level, is it still, are you gonna notice a difference? It'll be interesting to see.
Right. And then, overall, when it comes to progression, do you guys feel like this wipe has been better or worse?
I don't know if it's just
Worse
that I'm
for me,
getting.
last wipe.
For me, I've been leveling up pretty fast, but
I just don't have the time to play all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played as much, and usually when I play, I just play with you guys, so we're usually going in as a 4, or if we have Jake's brother, it's a 5-man. But I don't know, for me, I feel like I don't know if it's just I'm getting lucky, but those woods quests, finding Prapor's convoy and the missing camp. This wipe, I got it first try, which is usually, that's one of those quests where, for whatever fucking reason, it takes me at least 10, 15 tries. So I don't know if it's just, it's really hard to tell. I can't tell if I'm getting better at the game or getting luckier. I'm not sure.
It is hard to tell, yeah.
You never know. I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I go back and forth. Like, I feel like I leveled up quicker than I ever have before, but I also feel like I hit like a wall quests-wise faster than before. But I also avoid a lot of interchange stuff. So
You're pushing through your quest a lot faster, that's for sure.
trying to.
Well, and that could just be that, you know, I mean, this is our... How many wipes have we gone through?
3,
Like,
4?
Three or four?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
so
been
we'll say
3
this
for
is...
me, so it's 4 for you.
Yeah, so see, it's about 3 wipes, 3 or 4 wipes. So at this point, you know, we have a good handle of, oh, it's this quest, I know what to do. It's this quest, I know what to do.
And you know, it's not a game for anyone out there listening to this and considering picking up Tarkov. It's not a game that you pick up and you just are good at. 4
Yeah,
lives
no,
in,
it takes...
and we are all still
Yeah, dude.
average at best.
I am like 2 hours away from 1,200 hours, and I still feel like I'm ass at the game.
Yeah, it's really, it's just a matter of... It's just
amazing.
it's a really amazing game, but yeah, it's really, it's got probably one of the most massive learning curves.
Yeah.
You know, especially if you're a person that likes to go in blind, not watch any tips, and just figure out the game for yourself, which is usually something I like to do. I just like to go in blind and figure it out as I go.
You're gonna have a bad
Good fucking
time.
luck. Yeah, good fucking
Yeah.
luck. Like you can certainly do it. You can absolutely do it. It's just, I mean, honestly, if it wasn't for Jake, half the quests I wouldn't know what to fucking do. You know, because Jake, you know, you're one of those people where you get really obsessed with something and then you make your whole life about that thing. You just go balls deep into it.
Possibly.
And honestly, for Tarkov, that's a good quality to have. Because, yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like all our knowledge came from Jake, really. Otherwise,
It really worked out.
yeah, because I mean, I've watched a few General Sam videos because that dude's fucking hilarious and he makes me laugh my ass off.
Yeah, I
But
think
really,
his drop stay is soon. It might have even been today. He might have another 10 hours of slave video.
that would be fucking great. 'Cause, yeah, that dude's hilarious. But even then, he doesn't really, like, teach you much about the game. I just kind of, like, knew the game from watching him play it.
Well, he teaches you how to be a good rat.
That's true. But, I mean...
Credit where credit is due.
Yep, I embody that. The way of General Sam.
The way of the rat.
Mm-hmm.
I think I like the flea market changes too. I think that it's good that
I do.
the Uber Chads aren't gonna have access to the, you know, they'll have access to, you know, like I said, I've never had max traders, so I don't know what it's like, but I assume
Okay.
you could probably
So-
get like max like 2 slicks at every trader reset. So
So
they're not gonna be
here's
rolling in them.
Here's the thing. I have never been that. So as a say a player who's not very good at the game or doesn't know about the really high tier shit and what they changed on the flea market. Let's go over that because honestly, I have no clue what they changed. You guys have been saying for a while, oh, the flea
All
market's changed.
the high level
So-
ammo, armor, and helmets have been taken completely off the flea market.
So you're saying M995 for the M4? That's
Can't
not on
get
the
it
flea
on
market.
the flea market.
Eagle Nick for the AKs.
Nope.
You can't get it. So
Nope.
M61.
Nope.
You can't get it on the flea market. So all that shit you can only get from, I'm assuming, crafting in your hideout or traders now.
Correct. And
Or
they're
found it,
taking
right?
more
Or
and
finding
more
them,
stuff
right?
from it every day.
So it
Like
seems
you can't get
like
60 round stand mags or P mags now too. Like they're removing high level stuff from it.
so they want you to either A, craft it, or I'm assuming what Nikita's main focus is he wants you to find it in raid.
He wants you to find it
either-
and he wants you to use it. He doesn't want people stockpiling shit. He wants you to use the good stuff
Which
you
is
have.
good. Which is great,
Either-
I think.
Yeah,
I
it's
agree.
Either you find it and you lose it, or you get lucky and you know you still have
He's
it.
trying to.
Just
It
like the
seems
rest of
like he's trying to get rid of gear fear. He doesn't want people. He's
I
like, he's like,
100% agree. That's one of the
Yeah,
reasons I think
he
it's
wants
such a
you to
good
be
thing.
like-
Because for
And
the
for-
first year of playing this, that's what crippled me as a player.
Yeah, and for those, in case anyone is watching it, if you don't know what gear fear is, it's the concept of having really good gear and then just sort of letting it sit there in your stash because you're like, well, I don't want to lose it in raid. I'm just gonna kind of like what I'm doing with that scar that I got for Christmas. I make the joke of, oh, I'm gonna hang that thing up on a wall and just let it sit there and be like, yep, I brought it in one raid and killed a guy with it, and then it's like, all right, I don't want to lose it again, so I'm gonna, just keep it in my stash. Which, yeah, no, I think I think that will be a good change. There won't be as many chads running around, or even if they are, it's their loot's just gonna be that more valuable to you.
Yeah, it's gonna
like,
mean
oh.
like when you find good gear in raid now, it's gonna be like, holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I found that slick, I was like, it blew my mind. I was like, are you fucking serious? Like first
And
loot to the wipe?
Yeah, like, and how I found that Thor rig just in that one random weapon crate that I normally don't find shit in, I guarantee you there's gotta be some sort of buff they did to the whole loots and containers, especially with an update like that.
Well, and with the latest patch where they're gonna put less things in those crates than usual, it's gonna mean that people are gonna have emptier bags, which means they're gonna be looking for more loot.
Yeah. So people like loot spots will be more highly contested and all that shit.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how that changes stuff.
I still like it though, because you didn't mention you can't buy stuff, sure, that certain high level stuff, but you can still trade. So for example, I've got 2 marked keys right now, so you can put one up for trade. So if someone is like, hey, I'll give you my thick items case for a dorm mark key and whatever else, it's like, hey, yeah, I'll trade you, sure.
So that's on the flea market?
Yep.
You can do that?
And the hot rumor
Trade
right now
smell.
is that we're still gonna get the auction house eventually, and that the flea market might end up being a barter only system.
You know what I was gonna say, from
Wouldn't
what
hate
that sounds like, it seems like they would want rubles to almost be completely taken off the flea market, and then it would give the auction house a purpose. Because I remember when we
you would
first
sell
started
all your
playing,
stuff to traders instead of the flea market.
yeah, I remember when we first started playing, we saw there was an option for an auction house, and I remember us thinking, like, well, what's the point? There's a flea market. Like, why would you have an auction house?
Never heard of the auction house. What's up with
If you look, I think isn't it in your skills? If you scroll all the way down or something to like those skills that aren't yet
There
in the game.
used to be a tab for it. There might even
There
still
used-
be one.
I think they might have taken it off, but at the beginning of the game, if you scroll down to those skills that weren't in the game yet, there was the skill for auction house.
Yeah.
And we were like, what the hell is
How
that?
is
Like,
how's the auction house supposed to work? It's just up for, you put your items up for bid?
Basically, it would be like
basically,
eBay.
I would imagine, yeah, it'd be like Tarkov eBay. Especially if they want to turn the flea market into a barter-only system, that would make a lot of sense.
Well, and
to have
that's
an
just a
auction house.
rumor so far. It's just something that's been floating around. They've said that that's even a possible idea. So it's nowhere near confirmed, but it is a possibility.
Yeah, it's definitely a possibility. It just seems with like with what they're doing with items, making them not bought and only available for trade, it's really not too far-fetched to think that's what it might eventually turn into when the final product is fully released. We need to invest in a time machine so we can just figure this shit out.
Yeah, and I'm getting to a point where I don't know if I want to sell all my stuff I've been holding on to, or if I really do want to dump it all into the hideout, because I do think that the hideout is going to be more valuable than ever now, but the one time I remember really building it up, I just remember not making that much money from it, which I guess is the wrong way to view it, because now the point of it really would be to, I mean, sure, make money, but more so be able to get good stuff for yourself.
Yeah.
But like, especially like the graphics card thing, like that's, I don't know if it's because I don't play Interchange, and that's like the main place people get them, but I never find graphics cards, and when I do, it's like maybe I found 2 in the entire wipe. So I don't understand, like the Bitcoin farm, you have to put so much into it to get it going, but from what I understand, it's not even really worth it unless you have a decent flow of graphics cards every week or so, and I don't make enough money in the game to buy them off the flea market, and I sure as hell am not finding them. So I just strap in parts like that.
It probably is. I think it's probably exactly that. I don't think we don't really play Interchange PMC or Reserve PMC. We usually stick to the maps like custom, shoreline, woods.
Well, I also know I just straight up, like, there's certain high-level spots in every map that have chance to spawn things like that, and I just don't know where a lot of those are.
And I found my first one this wipe. In all of 3 wipes, I have never found a graphics card searching computers. And the one I found was in that room, the mini crack house outside of ZB1011. Just in one of those PCs upstairs, there was a fucking graphics card. And I imagine the chance of that thing spawning has to be at least like 1% or lower. You know, I mean, it's just, I felt like that was like a once in a lifetime find. It was the first time I ever found one. And now I'm just holding on to it because I don't know what the fuck to do with it.
Well, I found one graphics card on Interchange once.
Like, I like all the changes, but at the same time, it feels like a lot of the changes that happen to this game over time, they just hurt the casual players more and more. Like Michael was saying, he doesn't have the time to play this all the time. Like,
yeah.
And the only reason I have the time to play it that I do right now is I'm not currently working, so that's not something that, you know, everybody can do all the time.
Last wipe, yeah, that's exactly the point. Last wipe, I had a different job. I worked different hours, less hours, and I had a lot more time in my hands.
Right.
Yeah. Well, that's
it's like death to the casual player, pretty much.
Yeah, and that's my one concern is I hope they just don't listen to streamers, because streamers are like that 1% of, or maybe not 1%, but like 5 or 10% of the hardcore gamers where all they do is play, you know.
Right.
And streamers,
I do think
you know,
some of them
that's their
have good
job.
ideas, though.
Yeah, but I hope they just don't listen to. You can't just that. If you just listen to what they say, you're only seeing what the hardcore fan base wants.
Right.
And then eventually it will get to a point, like at the end of every wipe, where there's not a lot of people playing. The player base is just going to drop off because all the casual players eventually it'll get to the point where they just are like, well, I can't compete with the Super Chads, so I'm just gonna stop playing the game or something like that. And you know, I feel like you definitely gotta listen to both sides, but I feel like too if they it'd be interesting to see if they add other game modes like that arena mode, like maybe an arena mode is something for casual players if you just want to experience the raw PvP of Tarkov and the gunfights, and you don't want the looting mechanics, you just want to do PvP. I feel like that could be a fun casual game mode to do every once in a while. I mean, I've been saying I've wanted that forever because I love the Tarkov gameplay, but when it comes to PvP, it can be slow sometimes, or you can have a raid where it's just dead quiet and nothing happens at all because you just happen to not cross paths on with people. But I think it'd be fun, you know, if you could fucking just drop into factory like 10 versus 10 or something crazy like that, just like 20 PMCs in factory and you all just go ham, see who can get the most kills or something like that. I think that shit would be fun.
Well, and I'm curious how that's gonna work too, because they said that your gear will kind of share between your main PMC, but they said that you shouldn't worry about losing it because if it's insured, you know, it'd be like 3 or 4 players in the top hallway trying to loot a guy in the middle. Like, it's just not gonna happen. But
yeah,
what's the reward then? Because if you do end up coming out on top and say your team wins or something like that, like what is going to be the point of that other than just honing your PvP? Because you'll have used up ammo, your gun durability, and probably some heals and armor.
That's why I almost hope that I almost want, like, I'm sure a lot of people would disagree, but that's why I almost just want something as basic as a loadout system. You know, where it's like, okay, you can have this geared of a PMC that comes in with all this shit, so that way, like you're saying, anything you lose, it doesn't affect you. It's just like a separate arena mode. And maybe, depending on how good you do, you get a little bit of XP or something like that that can go towards your main PMC or something like that.
That would be interesting, but I don't think they're going to do it.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how they do that, how they implement that system.
Okay, well, one last Tarkov question before we change subjects.
Okay.
How do you guys feel about the AI currently?
No, I actually like it because they are fucking crazy. Like,
you like them being this insane?
I do. I like the range too. I like how they can shoot you from a mile away now.
No, dude, they are stupidly cracked. It's so dumb.
I enjoy it. I really do. I think it's hilarious every time like one shoots you from across the map.
Well, and they have
Especially when
3
it's
health pools now. You can run into a scav with like 750 HP.
I was
Yeah.
wondering about that because I have dumped like an entire 8-round tube of Magnum Buck into a scav and he didn't die.
Yeah, they have 3 health pools now. There's one that matches yours at 420 or something, or 440. And then there's like a 541, and then there's like a 741, which gives them
Damn.
like 100
Boss
HP on their chest and shit.
I hadn't
Maybe
even heard of
more
that.
than that. Yeah, it was
That
a sneaky
explains a
one.
lot.
They added it like just a week and a half ago or something, and didn't really say anything about it.
Well, and Santa
Like-
must have a ginormous health pool because I shot that fucker like it took 8 shots in the face,
Every-
point blank.
every
fucking
time I
SKS.
see- Every time I see him, I shoot him once and he dies.
Yeah, dude, Craig can attest. He
Oh,
was
yeah.
right fucking there.
Right in front of me.
And I checked. I hit every shot. Because he was right fucking in front of me in the face, and it took like I don't even know how much damage. It was like a ridiculous amount of damage to kill him. I don't know
Nice.
if maybe it was like lag or something. Maybe like the first few shots didn't register, but it made his AI attack me. I don't fucking know, but it was a shit show. It was a goddamn shit show.
I hate Santa, dude. He completely ruined my scav karma, and I didn't even mean for him to. He started shooting at me first, I swear to God.
What was
and
that? The
then-
scav I made you kill?
Yeah, and then there was that one point where we thought Michael was that sniper because he was
Oh,
shooting at
yeah.
us from the top of the hill at Lighthouse.
I
That was
so
that
mad
was
about that.
that was pretty funny. I had to applaud you on that one, Michael. You had us fooled. I thought you were a duded PMC, and I almost shit my pants.
Little Moses scav.
Oh, right. It was trap.
What about you, Craig? How do you feel about the AI?
Oh, it's yep. They're really good.
I don't.
Do you like that? Do you not like that?
It's hit or miss. I mean, it's hard to say, you know. All the experiences, it's hard to just say good or bad
I guess, yeah.
for me.
I think
Yeah.
they're a little too intense. Their
Yeah, I feel
range
like-
is pretty ridiculous, and there's sometimes where like you're way off in the distance. Like, I mean, down at Sniper Scav, like I'm up at the rocks on Customs looking down there, and there's a Scav walking towards hole in the wall. As soon as I scope into him, he turns to me and starts lighting me up. And it's like, dude, seriously? Like,
I
is it
feel
just
like-
a proximity thing that they have? Like a giant circle, and if you're anywhere in that, they're just gonna laser to you or what? But it's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, yeah, and there's sometimes too where you're behind a bush and you know that like if it was a player behind that bush you wouldn't be able to see him, but the scav just somehow can like see through all the trees and bushes and know
Yeah.
exactly where you are.
Shoot through the
Occasionally that
cover.
still happens. You know, they fixed that a while ago, and it just kind of came back.
Air quotes fixed.
Their new aggression thing, but it went away for, you know, it was gone for like a year, a whole wipe at least, and then it kind of came back.
Yeah, it seems like every big update the scav AI seriously changes.
Yeah.
Like they always are trying to fuck with it.
I think they're trying to tune it in. It's gonna, they'll drop it back from where it is now for sure.
I'm
I have
sure
no
they
doubt
will
in my
at some
mind.
point.
Any
Yeah,
last
whole big
things you guys
situation.
want to say about Tarkov, or well wishes for Nikita and the team? Okay,
Just
so
clip it down, you know, clip it down. Don't cut it out.
next topic, Dying Light 2. Who's pumped?
Now, is that the one where the light is like dying?
I think so.
No, this is the one where it's live themed.
It's Jesus.
It's getting brighter, you know.
This game's about Jesus coming back and saving all our damn souls. Now that is a plot I can get behind. We need more Jesus games.
I agree. Have you heard
Whatever
the big
happened?
word?
I've heard the word of purd. Oh, God.
No, but seriously, are you guys excited for it?
Um,
I'm
You
pretty
know,
excited,
looks of it-
honestly.
I mean, it looks okay. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it right off the bat, but
Craig, what do you
I
think?
might just buy it.
I'm not gonna pick it up at launch, I'm sure, because I'm
Oh, really?
wondering. No, yeah. I'm
Well,
afraid
doesn't
it's
it-
gonna be too similar to the first one.
It'll be interesting to see what they do, because the first one was pretty fun. I did really
don't
like
have-
it when it.
I don't
What'd
have
you say?
any perspective on the first one at all, so
Oh
I
yeah, you never
went
played
into that one.
before. I think
Yeah,
I
I just didn't
remember.
mind.
I remember Brian, Jake, and I think Craig and I all playing it on PS4 at one point.
Yeah.
When
there
did
was a
it come
couple
out?
of times. I
I
don't
forget
know.
what- Came out like probably 2016. I think
Yeah,
it was
it's not
2016.
super old, but it's not
16
Yeah.
super new either.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
felt
watched some
like-
gameplay footage, and I don't know, it didn't look like a brand new game to me. It did
It
look a
just-
little,
It looked dated.
yeah.
I remember when it came out on the PS4. I thought I thought it looked really good. Like
I still think
remember
it looks pretty good. I mean, yeah, it
Yeah.
looks dated, but yeah, I still think it looks pretty good. It's
Yeah,
got
the
like a
combat
weird
is
filter on, but
I have just unrealistic expectations when it comes to new games, I think, is my whole issue.
I get that. After playing
Yeah.
such good games, especially in the recent years, we had Witcher, we had Last of Us, we had, Red Dead 2, all sorts of good shit. And now it's just like we want all games to be that good and better.
Exactly.
Yeah, people do tend to set their expectations a little too high. I don't know,
Cyberpunk.
If you do the opposite and have like the absolute lowest expectations for a game, most games aren't that disappointing. It's like,
You're
oh,
never
okay.
gonna get let down. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
honestly
that's
don't even it said for me on specs that you need a 1050 Ti to run it at HD at 30 FPS on the low end, which kind of worried me.
Hold on, what is a 1050 Ti?
I think so. And
That's,
the biggest takeaway I saw from that was 30 FPS, and I was like, oh god. Because like I don't expect a smooth 60, but I'd like to get somewhere between 50 and 60 when I'm playing a game.
Well, this card's a lie. It's saying it can do 8K. That's not true. It has the same amount of VRAM as yours does, 4 gigabytes. But the cores might be slightly faster. I don't know, but it seems like.
I don't know. I kind of agree with what Craig was saying. Like, from the videos I've seen, everything looks good. But other than, some... I don't know. I feel like it's going to be one of those cases where I'm going to need to play it before I say anything, because it looks like they added some stuff, but it also looks like they didn't change too much at the same time.
Yeah,
I
make
will
it
say
look
at the
prettier.
very least that like when it comes to graphics, like I don't care what a game looks like. If I have fun playing it, that's all that matters to me. Case in point, I've been playing through the classic Tomb Raider on PC and having a blast doing that.
And pointy boobs, though.
Yeah, exactly. But the environment, I think, is one of the things I'm most excited about, because there's going to be different enemy varieties this time, like even more different types of zombies and things like that. And from what I've seen, the skyscrapers, the new grapple hook mechanics, and the glider, I think it's going to make traversing through the world more fun than ever before.
Yeah, that's something I realized about open world games that I think maybe not a lot of people realize is like, how there's a lot of open world games and it almost kind of gets boring
Right.
how many there are, because it's like, another open world game. Jesus Christ, we have so many of these.
That is true. It's overwhelming.
But when I played through Halo Infinite, one thing I realized that made the open world a lot more funner is how you go through traversing that open world.
Right.
The fact that they gave you a grapple hook that basically had to recharge for 2 seconds and then you could use it again made going through the world, anytime I saw, this objective is 1,500 meters away, I'd be like, well, I'm gonna fucking Spider-Man my way through this shit.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
like the original the Spider-Man that came out on PS4. That game had a huge open world, but it was so fun fucking web slinging everywhere. You didn't care how big the world was. It's like, oh fuck, I can
Well,
do
and
this
I
for
think
hours.
that
I think it's the concept of verticality.
Yes.
Well, that's
really
and I was
what it
gonna
is.
say another key part of it would be options, because with games like that, you can do whatever you want to get from point
Yeah.
A to point B.
Yeah, like the ones that are really uninspired. Even though we played it a lot, Ghost Recon Breakpoint. Like anytime you wanted to explore the open world, it's like, well, get into a helicopter and fly there, because you know
Right.
it's just there's really not much
That's
to
the
do.
most efficient way to get from point A to point
Yeah.
B.
And whereas a game, if it gives you multiple efficient ways that are all different and fresh, it's like, oh fuck, I could keep exploring this forever, you know,
Yeah, it's
type
actually
of
fun.
feeling. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they do the movement, and I am a firm believer that every game is made better with a grapple hook. So they're just gonna
Yeah.
give you a grapple hook from the get-go in Dying Light 2. It's looking pretty good in my book.
It's looking up.
Yeah, and when it comes to gameplay, it does seem like they've changed a decent amount. Even made little tweaks to combat, like being able to vault over an enemy and into like a drop kick to another enemy and stuff like that. So it'll be
Yeah.
interesting. I've never. I think the biggest thing I want to see is just cooler weapons. I've never really liked the out there weapons, you know, like, oh cool, a guitar with a machete on it. It's like I just don't like that stuff. I like more realistic weapons like swords and, you know, daggers and things like that.
Giant ass mace, a medieval mace.
And it would be cool if they expanded on actual weapons too, like guns and things like that with different attachments and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
the
because that
guns
was
were not-
definitely not a strong point in the first game.
You could tell the first
No.
game it was really developed around melee combat, which was
Right.
good. I mean, the just going through and hacking zombies to pieces was fun as shit. Like,
Well,
you know,
there's gonna
so-
be factions now too, so like we're gonna build up settlements and get different bonuses. Like I watched a video where they said, you know, one faction will give you more car traps or the ability to make car traps, whereas another faction would put more air vents in the world, so you could use your paraglider to stay up in the air more often.
Yeah, it's kind of like if they almost did a Just Cause 3 type movement system with that grapple hook, where you're basically just Superman and can fly
Right.
everywhere. It's like,
Well,
yeah, it's super unrealistic, but it's fun as shit, man.
Well, and I think that's gonna make it so, unless it's like if it's not like the first one, hopefully it will be, where all your progress stays within your game. So then, based on which factions we choose, when we're going back and helping the other person through their game, it'll be different.
Yeah, like have a different story and shit like that.
That's what we thought with Cyberpunk, though.
That's true. That was a big.
Look how that ended
disappointment.
up.
There was no multiplayer in Cyberpunk, though. As
Well,
buggy as it
no,
was, having
but-
multiplayer would have made it more fun.
I'm just still not
Isn't
sold
that
on it.
planned down the road?
It was,
Yeah.
but I think it's been canceled because of all
Yeah.
the work that the single player needs.
How could they cancel that? I mean,
It was really funny. I remember Craig booted it up for like, what? 3
Oh,
minutes?
about a couple minutes the other day, and instantly just loaded in with a glitch, closed, uninstalled, done.
Yeah, it was like he spawned in and his car like wasn't spawned in, so it was just him like sitting in midair or something like that.
Slowly spawning in. piece
Yeah, and it
by
was
piece.
slowly spawning in piece by piece, and it's like, dude, you have like a brand new PC. You got a fucking Ryzen 7 8-core, an NVMe SSD, brand new 3000 series RTX card. The game should be running flawlessly, you know? You shouldn't be having any of these loading issues. And yeah, it's just, man, that game was, I don't know what happened with that. I think they should have just taken more time, really. I mean, like nowadays, wow, cut that part out. Nowadays, when a game like, hey, we have to delay the game, I'm like, and for me, it's like a sigh of relief almost. It's like, oh, dude, great, fucking take all the time you want, as long as it's a good finished product. I'm happy.
I go back and
Yeah.
forth on that. Like, I agree. Like, when I hear a game's delayed, like, I'm not as butthurt as everybody who's butthurt about it. But at the same time, I'm like, damn it, man.
You're
Wait.
not butthurt.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if they delayed Elden Ring right now, or say Dying Light 2 again, I'd be like, are you serious, dude?
Oh, you'd
We're a
go on-
month
you'd go
out.
postal.
Like, you gotta be kidding me.
Yeah, it would literally.
Like, if
you
it
would
wasn't
become
ready,
full, dude.
like, you guys should have said something way before now. You cannot delay something when it's that. I think that's when it's a big deal to me. When it's, like, very close to the launch of the game and they delay it, that's when I get pretty upset. Like, if it's, like, say, you know, like, if they announced right now, oh, Breath of the Wild 2 has been delayed a year, it's like, okay, dude, all I've seen is a trailer of that game. That's fine. But if it
Yeah.
was coming out, like, you know, a month from now, I'd be like, are you fucking serious, dude?
It
And
was so
I mean, I still agree that it's good to delay them at that point, but it's just, it can be frustrating. I do
Well, it's
think
even
people
more
take it
frustrating
too
when you
far,
have a bad
though.
game.
I agree. Cyberpunk, I was start talking about Dying Light 2, and it's now just shitting on Cyberpunk, but that was one of the biggest disappointments for me. Like, I feel bad too, because we know for a fact that the devs were telling people no,
Well,
it's
yeah, and I
not
think,
ready.
I think what's happening now, what we're seeing is video games are a business, and they're there to make money. That's
it's
why
like
that's why they
both-
have these businesses. Is the most important thing is to make money.
And
And
it's
when you
like
start to
the best
corporatize
and the
something-
worst thing that could be happening
Yeah,
for us right
yeah.
now.
It's like, you know, how my dad's he's a contractor. That'd be like if he was told by someone, hey, a really rich guy came up to him and was like, hey, I want you to build me these apartment complexes, but I need them done by like next year. Next year rolls around and my dad's like, okay, well, they're done, but the roof is bad. The roof still needs work done. And the guy's like, nope, don't care. You know,
Yeah.
we're gonna do it. You know, you wouldn't blame my dad for that, because he told the guy like, hey, look, the building's not finished, we need more time to finish it. But the guy's like, nope, we're gonna sell it off, it's good to go. Like, that's the problem. Well, yeah, they would 100%, but it's like, it's not his fault. He knew it wasn't finished, he wanted more time, and that's the thing, you got to give these people more time. And that's another thing too, is like the crunch that people will go through, where they make them work 14 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Well, yeah, like
you can't fucking
BSG's
do
working
that.
through the holidays right now to fix all the server issues.
Yeah, and see shit like that, it's like, I don't want to see you guys fucking work through the holidays. I mean, we're all human beings. I don't like working that much. I like having my downtime and being able to relax. Like, people just need to... I think a lot of people, I think when it comes to that, there's a lot of, the demand is so high because a lot of people, they almost act like kids and they can't act like adults. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're like, they feel very entitled and think, oh, well, you got to release this game now, blah, blah, blah. Like, it should have been done. It's like, well, dude, you're not a game developer. You have no idea what goes into it. Shit like
There's
that.
gotta be so much work that goes into
Oh, it
producing
is.
a
And
video
from-
game.
And yeah, and I have no clue. The only thing that I know is that as video games get, you know, look better, have more mechanics, they become more difficult to make. Like when id Tech first released Quake, which was the first 3D shooter, you know, they made Doom, which was like 2D or 2.5D, I don't know how they did it, but once they went to a 3D engine, it took them like, I think like 16 months to do it, which for them at that time, they're like, Jesus Christ, no video game has taken us this long, this is ridiculous. And you know, from there, it's just gotten more and more complicated. We've added more bells and whistles.
Yeah, nowadays we get like 10 years between games. Like,
Yeah,
it
sometimes.
can take a long time.
For
Bethesda,
example,
for
the
example,
Elder Scrolls, the Elder Scrolls series. I mean,
We still have no idea when that's coming out.
We have no, and
that's
this is
gonna
the
be like 15
longest.
years.
This is the longest wait we've had in between Elder Scrolls games. I mean, Morrowind came out in like, there's probably gamers online that will rip me to pieces, but it was, I think Morrowind came out and it was like 2000, 2001, and then it got Morrowind. Yeah, and then Oblivion came out in 2005.
Well,
And
then
then
wasn't like Fallout 3 to Fallout 4 8 years or something like that?
It was, yes.
yeah, but
Except for New Vegas.
yeah, New Vegas was in there, but that was made by Obsidian.
Correct.
And Fallout 3 was when Bethesda first acquired it, like acquired the rights to Fallout. Because originally it was made by someone who made a terrible isometric game. Oh, cut that part out. If people hear me say that Fallout 1 was a terrible game, there's people on the internet that will rip me to shreds.
It was a different time.
But yeah, it was. I mean, I played a little bit of Fallout 1, and I wanted to castrate myself with a rusty spoon. It was god fucking awful.
They're supposed to be remaking the first two.
Well, if
Modders
they-
are supposed to be doing that in the Fallout
if they
4
do-
engine.
That would be honestly interesting if it was.
I
remade in,
agree.
like,
I think that would be fun. The problem is that it's like you were saying. It's a completely different type of game, so they almost have to make things up on the spot when it comes to environments and things like that.
Yeah.
Voice actors, voice lines, they got a lot of work to do there.
Yeah.
Because there aren't many voice lines in that game, I don't believe.
Well, yeah,
There's
because
a
I saw a
few.
preview of New Vegas in Fallout 4, and you got to go to the strip, and all the voices were done by like that AI robot, and it was terrible.
Jesus Christ.
Sounds awful.
I feel like though with New Vegas, couldn't you just like take the audio clips from New Vegas?
I think there's some sort of
legally.
copyright. Yeah.
But
So we got a little sidetracked, but overall consensus is Dying Light 2. Yay! Just might not pick it up on the first day.
I'm
I'll see
interested.
reviews.
I
That's gonna
think
make
I
me
think
have
I'm
fun.
gonna pick it up right away, but I also want to make sure that my system can even run it.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get to that point too. Is wondering if my system can actually run these games.
Which is weird, because it's not all games. I'm pretty sure I looked up the specs for Elden Ring, and like, I think even their max, they were saying 10 something, but their minimum was like 970 or something. So I feel like that one I'll be okay with.
Yeah.
Man,
you should be able to run Elden
That's
Ring.
gonna go away real soon. Seeing
Yeah.
a 900 series on a recommended.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
It's on its way out.
Anyway, on to the final topic, which, of course, is Elden Ring.
What's that one now? Is that the one with the old ring?
That's the old guy, shaped like a ring.
Oh, that's
Ah.
a yay.
Oh yes,
Yay for
Yeah.
me.
Old ring.
Well, I'm curious, honestly, most of all, of your opinions, Michael, because you had just played Dark Souls for the first time with us recently, Dark Souls 3, and you didn't think
I'm
you
a
were
Dark
gonna like
Souls
it,
expert right now.
but you did enjoy it.
I did actually. I liked it a lot. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played it with you guys in forever now, but it was actually a lot of fun. I've never played a game that infuriating. Like that was
He
worse
says
than
that
Tarkov.
like he
Like,
hasn't played
that first
Tarkov.
boss- Tarkov's not bad. That first boss. Oh, holy crap!
It's
Well,
just
and it
so
doesn't-
weird,
imagine-
because like that boss to me is like, dude, he's easy town. Like, are you kidding me?
Well, and Dark Souls 3 is, I think it's, in my opinion, it's the hardest out of all of them.
I think
Yeah,
it's
like
a
an hour
good
and a half to
starting
beat the
point
first
though.
boss.
Like if you're gonna like if you like Dark Souls 3, you'll like all of them.
Well, yeah, and Dark Souls 3 by far it's the most refined. Like, it's
Yeah,
almost,
so even though it may be difficult, your buttons do what they are supposed to do.
yeah, and like with the way the bosses are designed, it's almost like a rhythm game with the dodging, like learning their exact attack patterns, knowing
Right.
when to dodge at the right time.
That's what took me a minute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me
Well,
it's
not a
trial
real
and
fun.
error. Like when I go into a boss room, I'm not like worried about attacking him. I'm like fucking back in high school taking notes off the board to see what he does and when he does and how big the radiuses are and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Whereas
Yeah.
Michael,
There's
he's
something
just
about
walking in and he's just like, "Oh, which one's attack?"
I'm gonna go beat
I
this
remember
man.
I kept trying to find the jump button.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Yeah, there's no jump. I mean, there is a jump, but it's not a jump.
It's like a hop.
And then Craig,
know-
Craig beat his first Dark Souls recently.
Yeah, Dark Souls 3.
Still not the DLC though.
Still haven't
Yeah.
beaten the DLC. but
Don't take that away from yourself, Craig.
You
I
still beat
will.
still beat the base game. You beat, in which, in my opinion, is probably the hardest Dark Souls games out of them all.
Well, I mean, we quit playing the DLC because we got stuck on the demon.
Well, and then
From
I got the game, but I don't
below.
have the DLC. So, and then we started New Game Plus, so we'd
And
have
then-
to get to the DLC again.
And then
It's
my
a whole
PC,
thing.
and I had to do that Windows reinstall, so I lost all my save data from where Craig was at the DLC.
Oh,
Originally, I
seriously?
was-
You lost
it was-
your third character too?
I lost it all, dude. I lost all my. I had to
Oh
redo
my
Dark Souls 2.
God.
I had to redo Dark Souls 3. I had to do a new character. But, well, we still beat it, though. When we beat it with Craig, that was my new character.
Well, and I think on Dark Souls 3 too, it once we're like the password match gets rid of the limits, so I think I could still play with you guys no matter
Yeah,
how.
that's the nice thing about Dark Souls is, yeah, there's no... Dark Souls 2 is really the... And maybe Demon Souls. I don't remember how the Demon Souls worked, but, Dark Souls 2 is the only one that had your soul memory thing that like affected your matchmaking. Because in
Yeah.
Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 3, if you're a high level, it just scales you down to match whoever's world you're going into, which I think is a genius idea, because that way if your friend's like, oh yeah, I'm on New Game +5, you could just hop over to your friend's game who's just on their first run through, and it will just scale you down.
What is New Game Plus? I've never understood that.
It's basically where you beat the game and then you just go through it again, and the difficulty's increased to match your character.
Okay. Wait, does your character stay at the same level when you replay?
No, you keep leveling.
Yeah, you keep leveling. You just keep leveling up. It's basically if you want to get to like max soul level or whatever, you just keep playing. You keep grinding. You can go through. I think there's an infinite amount of new games. You can just keep going through the game over and over, and it gets harder and harder every time.
I think on every single game I've played up to New Game +5, so you can just keep going. Except Bloodborne, that one I was on like +8, and then I finally gave up. I was like, I can't do this anymore.
Good God, man.
But yeah, anyway, so Dark Souls is good.
It's good, man.
Michael, what do you think about Elden Ring? Are you excited? Is that going to be one of the first new games you actually pick up at the beginning with us?
I think I might actually pick that one up, because it looks fantastic.
It does.
It really does.
I think Austin can especially attest to that, because he played Demon Souls when it first came out, so he like just the little niches in the armor movement and hair and all that stuff.
Yeah,
I think he sees the biggest difference.
And the art style too in that game seems really strong. It's
the open world element is what I like the most about it.
Yeah, the open world. The I feel like we're not talking about it enough. The jump button.
Yeah, there's a jump button.
There's a dedicated jump button.
And there's a sneak mode like in Sekiro.
Yeah, there's gonna be a
overlooking the best thing though. There's horses.
There is horses,
but not in co-op.
Yeah, which I still don't. It'll be interesting to see. I'm sure there's a reason, probably with something to do with the horse combat.
Well, and the thing I dislike about it, because yeah, it sucks that we can't use our horses, but with their new stamina system, if you're not in combat, you have infinite stam, so we can sprint everywhere. But one thing I do actually am starting to see a positive about it is that in addition to the horse, there's going to be certain bosses that you can't do in co-op, so it's going to, even though this is a game we'll probably be playing non-stop together for our first playthroughs, there will be plenty of times where they're like, okay, nobody's on, but I want to play this. Oh, that's right, there's that shit I can only do by myself.
Yeah.
So that'll give us time to, say Michael is on and we're all not on. There's stuff that he can actually do without us being there, which I think is a good thing, because that's going to leave us, with something to look forward to, and that's going to be a good thing for multiple playthroughs as well. You don't always have to be playing with people, which in the past, just from the sheer difficulty and narrowness of certain areas in those games, it almost feels essential to bring somebody to help protect you.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see too, like how good the open world is to explore. You know what I mean? Like, because it's just
it's gonna be Breath of the Wild kind of exploration.
See, and that's exactly what I'm hoping for. That's why, like, the first thing that popped into my head when they said that you don't have to beat all the bosses to beat the game, I was like, oh my god, it's Breath of the Wild, but Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Because that game I've played like 7 times through, and every single time it was different because I chose to go to a different spot. Like one playthrough I remember, I was like, oh, I want to get the ability where I can fly up so I can get rid of climbing. So I went to that beast first, or I was like, ooh, I really want to get the Hylian shield and be a badass right away. So I went straight for the castle and shit like that. And it looks like that's going to be an option in Elden Ring, minus beating, I'm sure, some bosses that lock certain areas of progression.
Yeah.
And the weapon art system looks insane. Like, combat is going to be more customizable than I think ever before, excluding maybe Sekiro.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that works, because I know Dark Souls 3 kind of had like a little weapon art system.
Right, like certain
Certain-
weapons had their own like large or left bumper attacks or whatever it was called.
Yeah, but it would be cool to almost see like more intricate combos in Elden Ring, you know. Not like so much as like combos like, you know, making like a hack and slash game, but more versatility to each weapon.
Right,
You know?
like what Miyazaki was saying, like the next evolution of the Souls combat, basically.
Yeah.
Like, doesn't have to be crazy new, but it's new enough that it's gonna feel a lot different in a good way, from what I've seen. Because I watched a lot of that network test footage, like probably 4 or 5 hours of different content creators playing it, and it looks really fun.
Yeah, it does.
And
it does look really good.
Smooth. I like most people are saying at most they had 2 crashes during the entire 2 weeks that they got to play.
Yeah.
Which for a new game, as we were just talking about, is kind of insane.
It'll be interesting to see how the servers are when the full game's released and it's under, you know, a full load of a bunch of new players.
That's right, because I think Dark Souls 3 was the first one we really tried to play together, or maybe that was Bloodborne, but I never beat the first area, so it wouldn't matter. Like, I don't think I've ever had like a day one Souls server experience.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, really, I'm not sure. I remember we played Dark Souls. I got Dark Souls 3 right when it came out because I was excited for it.
Right, and then I
It
got
was-
it a few days later, but I don't think like, you know, like when it launched, I wasn't online playing with people.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the full launch of it goes. When does that game come out? Like February 23rd,
24th, I believe.
24th.
So we're like just over a month away.
Wait, that's like Cat's birthday.
Yeah, we've talked about this. It's gonna
That's
be an
literally
interesting
right-
weekend.
That's gonna be right on her birthday. Damn.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just have to cancel her birthday for the day. No, that's fucked.
What about you,
Where
Craig?
is-
You haven't said much. How are you feeling about the Elden Rings?
I want it.
He wants it.
Riveting stuff.
A man, a few words.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular you're excited about for
Horses,
it? Like
mostly.
features? Okay, you want horses. What is
You
it with the
don't-
horses? Why do you want the horse so bad?
They're majestic.
What
Yeah.
happens if the horse dies? Like,
I don't
or
think
does-
it
Never
can.
die. They never die.
Yeah, I think it's
quote
like a Satan
unquote
horse.
dies, it like has a timer before it will respawn again, but it's a pretty quick timer, like 10 seconds.
And I could be
Oh.
wrong, but I don't think it's like a horse. It's like a Satan demon
I think
horse.
I think it's like some sort of spirit
You still
horse.
said
Kinda
horse
like
at the end, so it's a horse.
Well, like it's basically like Dark Souls' version of Shadowmere from the Elder Scrolls series.
Which
you
is
know,
a horse.
yeah, which is a horse. It's just a horse that instead of being born in the traditional way, it rises out of the ground from
Oh, I
Satan's
don't
butthole.
care
It
how
can
it's
also
born.
jump like 200 feet in the
Horse.
air with ease.
Little thing.
Honestly, if you told me, hey, do you want a normal horse or do you want a Satan demonic horse with glowing red eyes? I'm gonna.
See,
do
that's
the demonic
actually,
horse.
now that Craig brought it up, that's something I'm kind of curious about too. Options is going to be important in that game because there are certain spots where you can jump your horse like 200 feet in the air, but is that going to be the only way to get up to certain areas? Because if that's the case, there's certain little secrets in co-op we'll have to miss.
Well, I wonder. I'm assuming there's got to be. It'll be interesting to see how verticality works in that game. How
Yeah,
easy it is
because
to
we
climb
definitely don't
hills.
have no secure
assuming-
grapple hook. It's all jumping and stuff.
I was gonna say it's gotta be a good game. It's gonna have a grapple hook. So I'm curious what that grapple hook's gonna look
Yeah,
like.
I mean they had a grapple hook in Sekiro. It wouldn't be that far fetched to have one in Elden.
Yeah, I feel like if that was, I don't know, I feel like that would be both a fun thing to hide, but I feel like it would be, we would know about it if that was going to be a thing, is what I feel like, especially with the horse and the intense jumping. I'm hoping we're going to get into a situation where pretty much anything you can do with the horse, you can do with the player too. It just might take a bit longer, require more strategy.
Yeah, take a different path or something like that.
I don't know how I feel about the stealth though. Like, I like that there is a crouch. I like that you can sneak behind an enemy and backstab them. but it's not like Sekiro where when you do that it's silent, like, you know, people that are new to you are gonna hear it and see you unless you use, I think they said there's gonna be like sleep darts that you can use for that.
Huh.
So that'll be kind of interesting. And I honestly think combat-wise, with the, you know, the whole blocking attack now that can stagger certain enemies, I think Michael's gonna have a lot easier time adjusting.
Yeah, I'll be, you know, I haven't, that's the thing, is I just really haven't gotten my hands on it. Like, you know, I haven't been able to try it out. It'll be really interesting to see, like, how the game feels in general with the combat.
I wonder how the mouse and keyboard support's gonna be.
I'm probably going to use a controller when it comes to games like that.
I think it's going to be a lot better, because Dark Souls 3 is, like, not good, but it's not as terrible as the first one. And from my understanding, oh yeah, dude, the first one was really bad.
I thought Dark Souls 3 was horrendous with keyboard and mouse.
It's not very good, but from what I heard, like, when I've seen, Sekiro isn't too bad on mouse and keyboard. I feel like they're gonna start branching out. Hopefully it will have better mouse and keyboard support. But yeah, I think I'll just use a controller, just because there's really, like, there's not really a benefit to using mouse and keyboard in those types of games.
I mean, think for me, it's like, if anything involves platforming at all, I want to have an analog stick.
Yeah, because you can be more precise with your moving with an analog stick.
Yeah, especially in a Souls game where they put you on, like, tiny beams where if you fall, you die. Which is something else that we haven't talked about yet. They significantly reduced fall damage. Like, I saw some dude, it looked like he jumped down half a mountain and he didn't lose any health. But it seemed, from what I saw in the network test, like, situational. Like, it seemed like there was one area where you're supposed to drop down from these platforms all the way down so he didn't lose health, and then there was another area where it looked like he jumped about the same height, but then he did lose health. It wasn't much, but still.
Maybe there's armor that reduces fall damage.
Is that a thing?
It's possible. I think they just reduced it in general, but it is possible that there are certain, you know, pieces of
there
gear.
might even be a consumable or an item that you can get, like in Dark Souls 2, that, like, even completely removes fall damage, unless it's
That's
like
true. Or
falling off the map or something like that. I'm sure there's always, it's a Souls game. There's gonna be situations where gravity's gonna kill you, you know, where, like, it could be like you have to walk along some narrow ledge, and if you fall down, you, like, fall off the map or fall in.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, I'm sure there's edges to the world too, which are no good. That's I think this is the first. I mean, I've liked the lore in all the Souls games, but I've never gotten super into it. And I know for Craig and Michael this doesn't mean much, but having George R.R. Martin do the world building and the lore type of stuff for it has me really excited to just read as much as I can in the game. Like every note, every paper, every NPC.
Interesting to see how different it is storytelling wise than their other normal games. Like, I'm curious, like, did he just write the lore, but then the way that lore is implemented is still up to Miyazaki? So is it still going to be, you know, presented to you in the traditional Dark Souls fashion?
It's confusing the way he says it, but he says the world building specifically. So, like, to me, that is the lore.
Yeah, like the,
you know,
the
just
world
where things came
it.
from, how it was born, what is, you know, the Elden Ring.
Yeah, so from my understanding, this isn't connected to the Dark Souls universe at all. It's a completely
as far
new
as
universe.
we know, yes, it's a whole new thing, but that could be some major twist. You never know.
Yeah.
But it seems like, for the most part, it's going to be completely different, you know, other than, Easter eggs, you know, like we were talking, I'm sure we'll see the Moonlight Sword in there, and if not, we'll start a riot in the streets. But
I'll burn my PC if you see Moonlight Greatsword, and then demand Miyazaki give me a new PC.
What about you,
what
Craig?
You made me
What's
do.
Is there? I feel like I might have asked you this already, but other than the horses, is there anything else that you've seen from any videos that caught your eye?
I just want another Souls game.
I never thought I would hear you say that, honestly.
You won't hear me say it again. No, you
Never again.
You will. That's good. It's good.
No,
good
and
job.
I agree, because I mean, I know you only played a little bit of it, but I loved Sekiro. That one was probably my favorite, either that or Bloodborne. And
Had really good
I love
combat.
everything they put out, and I can't wait for something new, especially a true open world for the first time for them, which is because there was so much speculation. Like apparently at one point there was going to be like habitable towns, you know, with towns full of pizza.
Oh, shit.
I guess I'm hungry.
Well,
Town full of Tony's pizza. But people, there was gonna be people, edible people like pizza, and
I mean, you can't eat them.
like they used, I think they referenced Novigrad and The Witcher, like they were thinking of stuff like that, but then they, you know, with day and night cycles, and they just said with a Souls-like game, they just didn't feel like it would fit that well, because a lot of the feel for the Souls games, other than enemies, is desolate, not a lot of normal human life and shit like that going on. So
Yeah.
and I think it goes back to what Michael was saying, is it going to be like Breath of the Wild, where in Breath of the Wild you'd see a giant tree at the top of a, you know, mountain way off in the distance, and you think, ooh, I want to go there, that looks interesting, and then what you find there is going to determine the big, you know, if the open world pays off for this game or not. Is it actually fun and rewarding to go explore places? Because that's a downside I saw to Cyberpunk, was there wasn't any, other than a few, there wasn't any crazy cool items that I found in really odd or hard to get to places. It was kind of boring exploring.
Yeah, it really was. And glitchy. Well, the glitches almost made it funny, though, so I mean...
Some of the glitches were pretty funny. Like my cars spawning inside of each other and then one just popping out on top of the other.
It was pretty great. Seeing random NPCs T-pose.
Or
Just
when I
gliding down the...
parked in one mission, and then when I came back outside, my car was still there, but it was 15 feet in the air and inaccessible.
Fucking... That's just... You know, that takes talent to make a game that glitchy.
It really does. But what's the consensus on that one, though? Is that one we're actually all gonna pick up day one? I know me, Austin, and Craig will, because we're planning a hangout for those days. But what about you, Michael? Is that gonna be your first new game purchase in a while?
It might not be day one. It might be once. I don't know. Once it probably dies out for you guys a little bit, and
Oh,
then
you
I'll probably pick
bastard.
it up quickly. I
Well,
might pick it up day one. You never know.
The good news is, though, if that's the case, I don't. From what we've heard on how you are able to play the game, we're never gonna be upset going back and playing it again, because it should be somewhat different every time.
Yeah.
Well,
I just don't
think
like
that.
the third player aspect.
Oh, you mean locking it into just 3 people?
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, like I was saying to Craig, I think there's certain items in some of the games where you're able to summon more, so there might be something like that in this. We won't know for sure until it comes out and somebody finds out.
Yep.
Well, I think that just about does it for the first official 4 boys and their PCs.
I have a PC.
We have.
I have PC.
I'm borrowing one currently. I don't actually have one.
That's true. You don't.
You
I
bastard.
have 2 PCs.
What
But-
a Chad.
But hopefully you guys enjoyed it, and stay safe in Tarkov City and whatnot. But I'm not sure what day of the week I'll upload these, probably on a Friday or the weekends, but they're recorded on Wednesdays every week, starting now. So if you enjoyed it, make sure you like and subscribe, obviously.
Oh, we're
And then
still going.
if you're curious about anything, or you want to throw your 2 cents in, please put it in the comments, because that helps the YouTube algorithm. And we will, that's
Just end it.
all I got for you. We'll catch you in the next one.